Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, the channel that brings you your team every single day, guys. I'm Owen David, your host, and it is match day, guys. Wednesday night, match day, Rangers against Hearts at Tynecastle. It is going to be a big game tonight. It's probably a game that will be a bit tougher than some people may have thought. Hearts will be bang up for this game, no doubt. Now, look, we're not going to talk about the AGM this morning. We spoke about that enough on the podcast last night. If you want to know my thoughts on the AGM, it's on the podcast from last night. Go back and check it out. But look, let's just say it this way. I would love the opportunity to sit down with John Bennett and James Bisgrove and ask them some of those questions that weren't asked yesterday. Some of those tougher questions that need a tough answer. And I'll rest assured that I wouldn't allow them to wriggle out of it. I would follow up those questions with couple questions to kind of pinpoint some information and try and find out a little bit more. But that's for another day. Hey, that's for another day. Well, Philippe Clement spoke to the media today ahead of the game against Hearts tonight. And then Philippe spoke about the fact that it would be tough playing an opponent for the third time. And I suppose, look, Philippe, that's something you're going to have to get used to in Scotland until the league is reformed and made into a proper league. Look, don't get me started on that. That's a topic for another day as well, on how we should form an 18-team league and only play each other twice. And don't get me started. Anyway, Philippe, you're going to have to get used to playing teams 3 and 4 times. So obviously, we met Hearts at Ibrox, where we went 1-0 down to a Lawrence Shankland header. Rangers huffed and puffed throughout that game and eventually fought back to get that 2-1 win, thanks to those 3 words that caused that implosion across the city: penalty to Rangers. And seemingly a sort of a mental breakdown across Scotland, really, for anyone who's not a Rangers fan. And then obviously a fantastic header by Danilo to win that game 2-1, as James Tavernier, who had a pretty awful 88 minutes up until that point, stepped up in that game and helped us to come through and win that game 2-1. And then obviously there was the semi-final at Hampden, where we pretty much smashed them up, and Scott Wright was one of the stars. I mean, who thought we'd be saying that at the start of the season? You know, we shoved him on a plane to Turkey twice, and not for a cheap holiday. So yes, Scott Wright was fabulous in those 2 games, and Scott apparently is back and available now, so it'll be interesting to see if he's on the bench tonight against Hearts. Hearts will be bang up for this game, as Philippe Clement himself said. We didn't say bang up for the game, and I can't imagine Philippe Clement ever saying he would be bang up for this game. Sorry for the dodgy French accent or dodgy Belgian accent there. But certainly they will be up for this game. They will want to get revenge on us for that 2-1 defeat at Ibrox, where Stephen Naismith had a good whinge about the penalty, even though it was a banged on penalty, because as we know, and as the whole of Scotland seems to not realise, you cannot pull shirts in the box the moment you do that. And yes, even a blue shirt, you cannot pull a blue shirt. Even the moment that happens, it's going to be a penalty, because that is against the rules of football. And I think it seems that, I don't know, most of Scotland seems to not understand this, but there we go. We all know how Stephen Naismith loves a good whinge. But Rangers going to tonight's game, I think, it needs to be a top performance from our boys tonight, and we need to go for a 90-minute performance. If it's a game where we start as we did on Sunday against St Mirren, where the first half was very much huff and puff until that Abdallah Sima goal at the end of the first half, and we gave those opportunities to St Mirren, including that Boyd Munt shot that Jack Butland saved fantastically well, we could be in for a bit of a battle and find ourselves behind early on. Hearts will come out and play, which I think will suit us. I don't think they're a team that are going to play the low block. They're not going to employ that very often. I think they will come out and have a bit of a go at us, leaving some space for our wingers to get in, and that's why I think Ross McCausland has to play tonight. And I understand what Philippe Clement said in his press conference about needing to manage his minutes, and he's a young player, etc., but when Ross is flying as he is at the moment and playing as he is at the moment, for me, he's got to be in the team. He's just a breath of fresh air in this team. You look at him on Sunday, and he was by far the best player on the pitch for long periods. He was lively, he had passion, he had energy, he went at players, he drew players in, he took players on, he made players miss, he went past players and took them out of the game. Ross has got to play tonight, I think. I think what was worrying in the press conference today was the fact that Philippe Clement talked about the fact that maybe there'll be points where Todd Cantwell has to play on the wide right, and that's not good. Look, it doesn't work, and I think as long as we've got Scott Wright, whatever you think about Scott, he does provide that option out wide. I think, Todd's got to be used inside. We saw on Sunday how effective he is. And Philippe, you've got to keep him away from that right wing. It's not where he can play. It's not his best position. You're not going to get a decent performance out of him. You're only going to get the best out of him by playing him as that 10. And look, whatever you think of Todd, his attitude and his TikToking and his social media activities, he is the most talented 10 at this club at this moment in time. So for me, he's got to play as a 10. Tonight, the team, look, I'd love to see young players given more of an opportunity in this team. Your Leon Kings, your Bailey Rices. However, I don't think that would happen tonight. This is probably going to be the toughest game that we've got in this little run at this moment in time before we face that a lot on the 30th. So you've got to go in with your strongest team. And, realistically looking at it, I would go in with pretty much a very similar team to what played on Sunday. This is not the team necessarily that I would pick if I was the manager. And like I always say, you might think, thank God, Owen, you're not the manager. This is a team I think Philippe Clement will pick tonight. Obviously, Jack Butland in goal, no debate. Best goalkeeper in Scotland, one of the best goalkeepers in Britain. Should be back in the England squad. Back four, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Leon Balogun, and Borna Barisic, I think will play. Look, I'm not a fan of Borna. You know my feelings on Borna. He's too negative. He goes backwards too much. I just think that, with the fact that goal at Hearts will drop Shankland onto Ridvan if he's playing there and try and exploit that height difference, will pop the ball over his head for their wide men to get him behind. I think that's something Stephen Naismith has shown that he'll exploit, and he will try to exploit. So that's why I think that Philippe will go with Borna at left back. Personally, I would play with Ridvan. I hate this archaic attitude of, he's not tall enough, Ridvan, because modern fullbacks don't tend to be. They're quick, they're speedy, they're agile. Certainly everything Borna Barisic is not. Again, I think look, I said this on the video yesterday. I said this on the podcast earlier as well. When we're playing teams in Europe and when we're playing Celtic, we do, I think, go with those two holders, ideally Jack and Lundstrom or Jack and Raskin. But Raskin is out. More of that in a minute. And I think we need to attack Hearts. Hearts are an inferior team to us. No matter what you think of this squad or the lack of depth of talent in this squad, it is still a better squad and a better team than what Hearts have. And we've got to attack them and get after them. That's why I would give Tom Lawrence the 8 role, keep Lundstrom in the sitting role. If you've got Lundstrom dropping in and supporting Goldson and Balogun, you've got more than enough, I think, there to hold up Hearts. We're not playing Real Madrid. We're not playing Borussia Dortmund. We're not playing Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Aston Villa. We're playing Hearts. Look, let's go after them. Let's get at them. And I think Tom Lawrence is the best bet there. And he just offers a little bit more with his passing, his ability to get beyond that three behind the striker, to get up and support the striker, as well as obviously work back as well. I thought he did okay on Sunday in that role, an unfamiliar role for him. Like I said earlier, Ross has got to start on the right, Seamer on the left. Seamer was fantastic, scored those 2 goals, back in the goal hunt, which is exactly what we need. I mean, it's been some talk even of playing Seamer through the middle because his finishing is just so good. I think we've got to put Danilo back in there, give him his opportunity. Yes, I accept that Danilo has not played brilliantly to this point, has looked a little jaded and has missed chances that he should have taken. I think he's really got to go out there tonight and prove that he is worth some of that 6 million. When he gets a chance, he has to take it. His chance conversion has to improve. That's something that Danilo really needs to work on. And as for Canwell, for me, has got to be in that 10 role. I don't want to see Lammers on the pitch, and I do not want to see Dessers on the pitch. I want to see us going out there with the strongest possible team, really getting at them. Rabbi Matondo, come on, sort of the last 15-20 minutes to go at the tired Hearts defence. That for me is what will be most effective tonight. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, obviously, I mentioned Nicholas Raskin there. Now, Raskin is out for tonight's game. And it looks like he's going to be out until at least the new year, which is not good news for Rangers. Nicholas Raskin is undoubtedly very talented. Yes, perhaps at times he hasn't shown it this season. But I think, under Philippe Clement, with what Clement will want from him, been more of an 8 than a 6, which I think with Raskin really is. He's more of an 8 than a 6. He can get the best out of him, Philippe Clement. He can get him to be, linking up between the defence midfield, between the midfield and the attack, running beyond those front 4, and getting back as well, box to box, playing those passes in to the front 3 to go and create for Danilo or whoever is up front. maybe a new striker in January, hopefully. But, Raskin is a talented player. Now, the news is not looking great on the injury. There's no sort of information on the injury. It seemed that his injury was around his ankle. He turned his ankle when he was shooting in a game. But I don't know what's happened as regards his injury. But yet again, the Ibrox injury curse seems to have struck when it comes to Nicholas Raskin. Raskin went out with what was described as a 2 to 3 week injury. He's now been out for a lot longer, and it looks like he will miss months of this season. It seems like a reoccurring Tom Lawrence or Kemar Roof, God help us. But look, it's not good news that Raskin's out. Clement is playing his cards close to his chest as to what is wrong with him. I certainly hope that it's nothing serious and that he can return as soon as possible, probably in the new year. But having Raskin back is, I think, key to get this team to moving again. I think having Raskin and Lundstrom, or Raskin and Jack, or Raskin and a new signing there is the best option in front of that back four for me. And, as good as Tom Lawrence is in that role, that's not his natural role. He is more a guy to play in that front three behind the striker. And I'd prefer to see him even out wide or in the 10, resting Cantwell. But as Raskin's out, as Jack's out, as Bailey Rice appears to be out, not even an option, you've got to go with Lawrence there. But I would love to get Raskin back sooner rather than later. Hearts come into this game in some decent form, beating Motherwell 2-1, and then obviously beating St Johnstone and beating Kilmarnock 1-0 in both games, winning Stephen Naismith the Manager of the Month award for winning only 3 games. Interesting, that one. But apparently those performances have not been overly convincing, and obviously they will be without one of their top players, Alex Lowry, as he's not allowed to play with his parent club. So, look, yes, they are going to be a more tricky, shall we say, than St Mirren. Yes, they are probably the best of the rest in Scotland. But realistically, we've got to go out there and go from minute one. There's got to be a intensity to Rangers play tonight. There's got to be a passion. There's got to be a 11 Ross McCauslands in effect is what I want to see on the field, really going after them. That's what I need to see. That's what I want to see tonight. My prediction, 3-1 Rangers. That's what I'm going for. Looking forward to live streaming the game tonight. That's one thing that will get me through today, working this morning, is knowing that I'm going to be able to watch Rangers tonight. God, boys, please don't let me down. Please don't let me down. Anyway, let me know what your predictions are in the scores in below. And if you have not yet done so, please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep on growing, guys. I think we're over 3,851, 52 at the moment at time of recording. Channel's going really well. This is my focus, guys. I love Rangers. I love talking about this club. This club is so important to me. Help me get this channel bigger. Let's grow it and let's really spread the Rangers word around the world. Guys, as always, on the way out, 2 things for me. Smash the like. And remember, always, we are the people.